Hi, what's happening, y'all? It's your boy Rico from StreetScores, and I'm here with my final predictive 7-round mock draft. This is my best shot at trying to predict what will happen, not what I hope happens. I already gave you my best case scenario 3-round mock draft yesterday. Right now, this is my predictive one before, it's 5:20 p.m. right now. I'm about to live stream at 6. And also just because there's so many picks, and then also because I've already broken down a lot of these players that I have us taking, I'm not going to spend too much time on these guys individually, but get ready to dive into this 7-round mock draft. I'm also including undrafted free agents. I have comps for these guys. I have strengths and weaknesses. I'm going to explain why I feel like they will be available at the pick that we can get them. All of that, man. So buckle up, and before we get into everything, make sure you still farm that like button, still farm the subscription button, still farm the bell next to that subscription button so you to get a notification each and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Make sure you stay tuned to all of the content. Really appreciate y'all supporting all of the videos and everything like that. Make sure you pull up for the live stream tonight. I will be live streaming starting at 6 p.m. running all the way through the entire first round. I'll be with the Commanders Kings tomorrow on the Commanders Kings channel, live streaming rounds 2 and 3 for day 2, and then I'll be back on this channel by myself rounds 4 through 7 on day 3. So make sure you pull up all of that. Without further ado, let's go dive into the video right now, man. Let's get it. Adam. And I'm also going to avoid any trade backs because that's just way too difficult to predict. First of all, where will we land? Will we have to give up to get that trade back? Will we get in return for the trade back exactly? So I'm just trying to focus on getting the players right. So we're just going to keep the picks the exact same, even though I do feel like it's quite likely we trade back out of 29. But round 1, 29th overall, I have us taking edge rusher Donovan Ezrau out of Boston College. Of course, again, as y'all have seen several times, I've mocked them to us in my "this is what I hope we do" mock draft. This is we trade back. Any scenario, I just see Donovan Ezrau is just such a perfect match for us, man. He's Von Miller if all of the stars align, man. And just to kind of explain how I got here, if Mike Green falls, he's the pick. You know what I'm saying? John Com said like a couple of days ago that the Commanders are very interested in Mike Green. I think it was yesterday, actually. And, since Mike Green led all of college football in sacks last year, who was second? Donovan Ezrau. Exactly. Plus, Donovan Ezrau was a 2-time captain, and 7 of our 9 draft picks last year were captains. But then again, Adam Peters did say that, since we've set up a certain standard, we have a certain environment full of captains and leaders, that maybe we could take some risk on some character guys. So that's why Mike Green could be a guy, an option, if he does in fact fall to 29. But I don't see that happening. I think he's too talented. I just refuse to believe that many teams have him off of their boards just because of the character, off the field concerns that he had. Nothing you have to worry about on the field wise though. And that's why I was taking Donovan Ezrau. And League, you messed up. We get Donovan Ezrau at pick 29 or later in this draft. I'm going to let you know that right now. Dear rest of NFL, dear 31 other teams and fans of those other 31 teams, you let the Commanders get Donovan Ezrau with what we already have on offense and defense. Y'all messed up. I'm warning you right now. I also heard that there's reported interest in Maxwell Harrison from insiders. Apparently that's very real. And then you also have no idea what insane talent may just fall beyond reason. And John Com also said that we would sprint to the podium if guard like Tyler Booker is somehow there at 29. Also think James Pierce is a player that they're considering. I don't think the Commanders have completely just taken him off their board. But again, Donovan Ezrau, idly, go ahead and play around. Let us get Donovan Ezrau, see what happens, man. Again, to me, his ceiling is Von Miller if all of the stars align, man. I already showed you the advanced stats in my previous best case scenario mock draft. I guess that was yesterday, even though it feels like it was a whole week ago. And like literally when you're looking at run stop win rates among this entire edge rusher class, look who's at the top. Donovan Ezrau. I'm not saying he's literally the single best, the #1 run stop and edge rusher in this entire draft class, but the advanced stats speak for itself, and I feel like at the very least, he's nowhere near as bad as a lot of people act like he is. And again, like I pointed out in my best case scenario video yesterday, this guy is what, 6'2", Will Campbell is 6'6". Some people see him as a tackle. A lot of people see him as a guard at the next level. But either way, he's 6'6", 320 pounds, and has like a little over 2-inch shorter arms and like a shorter wingspan than Donovan Ezrau. That's why I feel like he can hold up against the run, because he's going to have a lot of situations where he's able to get his hands on the tackle more often than the tackle can get hands on him. And we've seen that whether he's going after the quarterback or stopping the run, he has a great ability of getting his hands on the tackle and shedding that block. And you better not ever dare try to block him with a tight end. If you're blocking him with a tight end, it's because you're double teaming Donovan Ezrau with the tight end and the tackle. Don't you ever dare leave a tight end to block Donovan Ezrau one-on-one, especially on a passing down. That's a recipe for disaster for other quarterbacks. And man, we need pass rusher pretty bad, man. Like, we brought in a whole bunch of run-stopping edge rushers outside of Jacob Martin, and that we signed over from the Bears, who had like 4.5 or 5 sacks last year. And maybe you could argue, with more snaps, maybe he can become a double-digit sack guy. Because when you're looking at it on per-snap basis, that guy was just as efficient as Dante Fowler was last year. Dante Fowler just played way more snaps. That's why Dante Fowler was able to get 10.5 sacks. Then you also have Dorrance Armstrong, who's shown flashes throughout the season, and especially against the Detroit Lions, he showed some bend that only a handful of edge rushers have in the entire NFL. And then you have Javonte Jean-Baptiste, who was a 7th round pick of last year's draft class. He showed flashes at times, even though he got hurt and, things like that last year. But outside of that, purely just a bunch of run stoppers. Dedrick Wise can kind of rush the passer a little bit too, but generally, we went from the worst run defense last year, and you could just tell by their moves this offseason that they want to be at worst top 10 at stopping the run. But in doing so, we let Dante Fowler go to the Cowboys, who was our best, at least our most successful, most productive pass rusher last year. We are devoid of pass rush, and Donovan Ezrau has the best pass rush bag entering the NFL out of this entire draft class. Abdul Carter is the best pass rusher because he also has a ridiculous amount of athleticism, movement skills that you just can't teach. Donovan Ezrau isn't far behind him, though. You know what I'm saying? I feel like a lot of people are really downplaying Donovan Ezrau's ceiling, but the reason I really, really want him at 29 is because we're trying to win Super Bowls right now. We're trying to take advantage of Jaden Daniels' rookie contract with him playing like a top 5 quarterback, being a top 5 quarterback on a rookie deal, allowing us to focus a lot of our capital, especially cap space wise, to other positions to make sure those parts of the team are great. And that's when your Super Bowl window is the most wide open. Well, we're trying to win right now. We're trying to build for the future as well. And that's why Donovan Ezrau was the perfect pick if he somehow falls to us at 29. Because, I mean, when we're talking about ceiling, again, I showed y'all a chart in my video yesterday about how like Donovan Ezrau and Abdul Carter were in their like own bracket when it came to like pass rush productivity and athleticism. Or maybe I had it backwards. Maybe pass rush productivity was the x-axis and athleticism was the y-axis. Either way, Donovan Ezrau and Abdul Carter were literally in their own league, their own distant quadrant together. Like, so don't sleep on his ceiling, but the most important reason that I want him at 29 is because he comes in day one with the best pass rush plan, bag, whatever you want to call it, array of moves out of this entire draft class. I love Abdul Carter, but Donovan Ezrau has the craftiest moves, hands, counters out of this entire draft class coming into the NFL right now. I wouldn't be surprised week 1 he gets a sack. I wouldn't be surprised his rookie season, especially with Dan Quinn as his head coach, he gets double-digit sacks as a rookie. I would not be the least surprised. And the reason I feel like he's actually quite likely to be available at 29 overall, don't let me tell it. How about MDDB? Feels like he's the 32nd ranked player on their big board. Same with Sports Illustrated, 32nd. How about Draft Buzz, 52? How about CBS, 60th? How about Todd McShay, 66th? How about Pro Football Network, 74th? I don't care what rankings they have. Donovan Ezrau is a home run pick at 29, and based off of what we're seeing around the buzz around the NFL and a lot of these draft experts and things like that, sounds like it's quite likely for Donovan Ezrau to be there for us at 29. Maybe even if you trade back, he'd still be there, but I want him so bad, I may not even risk trading back. He could very well be there if you trade back with the Browns back to like 33 or something, or maybe a little bit further back with the Giants, but I may not want to risk it. I want him that bad. I mean, You could argue, like, again, what we did in free agency, the trades we made, the signings we did, and all of that type of stuff. I would argue we don't have a specific position that's just a glaring hole. We only have traits that are holes. Like, we're not devoid of playable, solid starting edge rushers. We're not devoid of running backs. We're not devoid of wide receivers. We have talent all up and down this roster. And if we had to play tomorrow, we have enough decent, solid starters depth to where we're okay across the board, literally outside of kicker. Honestly, kicker is like the only position where it's like, yeah, we really need that position, period. But specifically outside of positions, if we're talking traits, pass rusher, a running back that can hit the home run, that can take a rush 60 yards to the house. You could argue a deep threat at the wide receiver room, specifically an outside corner, not just cornerback in general, because we're 4 deep at corner. We just need an outside one. You see what I'm saying? So specific traits, I would argue pass rush is the biggest need of this team right now. And it's for you to be able to go ahead and check that off in the first round, and then you have the rest of the draft behind you. Insane. That's already an A+ draft, in my opinion, if you walk away with Donovan Ezrau. Again, the pass rush bag, the ceiling, insane. Don't let people tell you that he's a bad run stopper either, man. I feel like at worst, he's going to be a better version of Harold Landry. I think that's his floor today coming out of college. I think if he had to play a game tomorrow, he's a better version of Harold Landry. I think his ceiling is Von Miller, because right now I think he's like about the same height, maybe an inch shorter than Von Miller, but he's also only 2 pounds lighter. Right now, we're talking about veteran, future Hall of Famer Von Miller at the NFL level is only 2 pounds heavier than Donovan Ezrau was at the combine. Let these NFL coaches get a hold of him, give him an NFL level nutrition plan, diet plan, exercise program, weight gain program. He's going to be even heavier than Von Miller. And Von Miller was never worried about him against the run. Why would you do that against Donovan Ezrau again, who, when you look at it at the advanced stats, was the best run stopping edge rusher in this entire class? And that's even including the bigger guys like my boy Michael Williams or Shamar Stewart, all of those guys as well. Now moving on. How about round 2, 61st overall? I have us taking cornerback Benjamin Morrison out of Notre Dame. And I think he's literally Marlon Humphrey. Like, and you know, typically when I do these comps, I'm like ceiling, I'm like floor. No, he's literally Marlon Humphrey. I really wanted a top running back right here, but I just don't believe at all that Travion will be available this late in the draft. And I think he's going top 40, honestly. So we're just going to have to address running back later. And if it weren't for a hip injury, Benjamin Morrison would be an easy first round pick, probably even top 20, maybe even top 15. He's that talented. His tape is literally that good. I truly believe he is an immediate day one starting outside cornerback, and I also believe he has a Pro Bowl level ceiling. Again, he's literally Marlon Humphrey with not even just like build and everything, but literally how he plays bigger than his size with physicality and technique. Everything is literally just the hip injury. That's it. And the only reason he's going to make it this far beyond the first round, all the way maybe to even 61st in the second round, is that any team that's afraid of his medicals are not even going to look at him until like round 3 or later. And the Commanders met with him at his pro day. But most importantly, if he's there at pick 61, you can make an easy argument that he's just best player available regardless of need. And he's also a position of need. Now, again, to give you an update, we're talking about 61 overall. DraftNet has him as their 77th player on their big board. NFL.com has them ranked as their 99th player on their big board. There are people out there that truly believe he could be available at 61. And yes, we do, in fact, have a pretty big need for outside corner specifically. Not just corner in general, because we have plenty of good corners. We're 4 deep at corner. We're deeper at corner than we've been in a while, but the problem is Marshall Lattimore is the only one that's a pure outside corner on the roster right now. Mike Sarver still is solid at outside corner, but I believe he can be elite at slot corner. I feel like that's his highest ceiling. I feel like that's where, if he's ever to make a Pro Bowl in his career, it's at slot corner. Noah Benogany is more slot than outside. So is Jonathan Jones, who we just signed in free agency. We only have one true outside corner. And I mean, the 3 guys that are basically just better in the slot. Mike Sarver still can play outside, but he's like 5'10", 5'9", or something like that. And so even though, when in doubt, you can make Mike Sarver still play outside again, man, if you have the chance to get Benjamin Morrison at 61 overall, second round, you sprint to that podium, dog. I mean, if he even falls in the range of like lower 50s, you may even want to consider trading up to get him. He's that, I'm telling you, if you haven't watched Benjamin Morrison's tape, trust me. Now moving on. Of course, we don't have a third round pick, so moving on to round 4, 128th overall. I was taking running back Base Shield, Tutin out of Virginia Tech. He's literally 2012 Pro Bowl version of CJ Spiller. If he just stops fumbling so much, I mean, look at the screen right now. I mean, that's why he will be completely off of a lot of teams' boards. The fumbling, and I would also add the bad pass protection. Those are probably his 2 biggest weaknesses, and then he's also pretty inconsistent with his vision at times. But, I mean, he has literally everything else. Now, granted, everything is easier said than done, but all of his issues and weaknesses, the vision inconsistencies, the fumbling, the bad pass protection, a lot of those things are teachable and coachable. Again, easier said than done, but you can't teach his speed, his agility, and his explosion, man. And just to let you know, draft positioning wise, big board wise, you have MDDB having them ranked 124th, so 4 spots ahead of our 128th pick. ESPN has them 155th, Draft Buzz has them 158th, and Pro Football Focus has them ranked 202nd. This guy ran a 4.32, and this is not like a fugazi 4.32 like Matthew Golden. The time he ran, what was like a 4.28? He doesn't run that at all on tape. He's nowhere near that fast on tape. I don't know how he did that for this 40 time. I don't know if he cheated, but he's not that fast on tape with pads and you know, helmet on and stuff like that. Bayshore Tutin literally is, though. Bayshore Tutin is easily, literally 4.32 speed on tape, and that's what matters most. And the Commanders met with him at both the Senior Bowl and his pro day, and they also went on to hold a private workout with him that had Anthony Lynn there as well, basically one-on-one. This came from Bayshore Tutin telling us this directly from himself. This wasn't some random source. Bayshore Tutin said that he literally had like a one-on-one private workout with Anthony Lynn, our running backs coach and our run game coordinator. So there's real interest there, and I wouldn't be surprised if Anthony Lynn is trying to convince Adam Peters that he can fix him on some like, man, look at that speed, look at that burst and athleticism. You can't teach that, but I can teach him how to hold on to the ball better. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't be surprised one bit if that's what Anthony Lynn's doing right now. Every great coach is worth anything that, you know, that's worth his salt, that, you know, that is actually good at his job. Any great coach, no matter the position, they're looking at very talented prospects like this, and they're like, I can get greatness out of that. We just got to fine tune them a bit. And that's literally Bayshore Tutin. You can argue he's one of the top ceilings in this entire draft class out of this running back class, which is a very deep running back class. The problem is he has the cardinal sin, the worst sin of all as a running back, putting the ball in the ground. If you can fix that, big if, arguably one of the most talented running backs in this entire class. And to get him in the round 4, I mean, again, you can take risk like this when you have a Super Bowl contender roster already before the draft even starts. You can afford to take risk like this. That's why the Chiefs, the Ravens, all of these teams, the Bills do this, because they're already a great team. You use the draft to get best player available, to get ceiling. And you see you can coach the greatness out of them. And it doesn't work every time, but it works a lot of the time. Now moving on. Round 6, 205th overall, Evans taking wide receiver Arian Smith out of Georgia. Literally, ceiling-wise, Deshaun Jackson, if he ever finds a way to get dependable hands. And, you know, I just couldn't go an entire mock draft without at least getting one Georgia guy. So this is my Georgia guy. And Evans taking him 205th overall, but NFL.com sees him ranked as the 280th best player. Then you have MDDB 297th, Pro Football Focus 326th, and Draft Buzz is 398th. We may be able to even get him in as an undrafted free agent, but I wouldn't be surprised round 6, that elite speed, one of the fastest players in this entire draft class, regardless of position, you may not even want to risk it. I mean, we're looking for a deep threat. With bringing in Deebo Samuel, we replaced De'Ami Brown's gadget behind the line of scrimmage screen ability. You give them the ball in the backfield, and they make the whole play themselves. Deebo Samuel is an upgrade over that. De'Ami Brown, though, with him gone, right now, we don't have a deep threat opposite of Terry McLaurin. And Terry McLaurin is always going to get a lot of attention from the defense. So how about we get like a true deep threat that can run past safeties opposite of Terry McLaurin, while Terry McLaurin is taking all the attention away from the defense. And then once teams, after a while, they're like, all right, this Arian Smith is burning too many of us. He's burnt us already. Now we got to start, you know, shading the safety towards him. Now Terry and Deebo and everybody else is going to eat. Noah Brown's going to eat because of it, because the run game eats because of it. Jaden Daniels, his job is easier because of it. So Arian Smith, the problem is not very dependable. At least at Georgia, he went to the Senior Bowl and acted like a completely different person. I was both proud and very upset with him when I saw him at the Senior Bowl catching back shoulder contested catches. Where was that at any point when you were at Georgia? We needed that. So he was dropping open passes at Georgia for us, especially this last season when we really tried to feature him as a wide receiver. But he got to the Senior Bowl, and granted, what have you done for me lately? That's our most recent view of him. Maybe that's who he is. And if that's who he is, he's a round 2 talent. If the hands are there, he's easily a round 2 type of talent. Like, the ceiling is that high. Again, literally Deshaun Jackson, if he learns to ever get dependable hands, because he's shown throughout his career arc of being at Georgia that he can improve as a route runner. He's actually pretty good at route running. At the Senior Bowl, again, to reference that, he was getting open against pretty much everybody during the game, in the one-on-ones, the practices and everything like that. Arian Smith, literally everything but hands right now. And you can't teach 4.2 whatever speed. I think his 40 time actually ended up being a little disappointing compared to what I expected. I expected him to run the fastest out of anybody in this entire draft class. So did, I think it was IGN, the in-game athleticism score from Next Gen Stats. I think they predicted him to do that as well. He didn't. He was still like top 5, but you know, it was still a good time for his 40 time, but it wasn't what we expected. He's literally like a track star that's been learning how to be a receiver the last couple of years at Georgia. He gets the hands together, literally Deshaun Jackson. And then lastly, before we get up out of here, round 7, 245th overall, we're going to get one of those kickers. I know my boy Ed Oliver doesn't want to draft a kicker, but I wouldn't be surprised with as bad as we need one, and with as many kickers that a lot of teams are interested in around the NFL. If you look, Andreas Borregales, he came in for a top 30 visit, but other teams have shown interest in him. A lot of teams have brought him in for top 30 visits. Same thing with Austin Brinkman, same thing with Ryan Fitzgerald, and then we brought in Maddox Chirillo for like a private workout. So there's several kickers that we're interested in. Throughout this entire draft process, I think we've shown some sort of interest in like 10 different kickers. They are very serious about finding an upgrade for Zane Gonzalez. Apparently, it doesn't look like they're going to go in free agency to get one. So don't be surprised if they don't even risk it as an undrafted free agent. They go get one with the very last pick that we have in the draft. Don't be surprised at all. And then I have some undrafted free agents. I have 2 categories. I have priority undrafted free agents, and then I have others. So just to throw some names out there. Now, granted, I could have just listed off a bunch of names. I could have gone 30 deep off just based off the top 30 visits, based off of everything, you know, the private workouts and stuff like that, local pro day. But I'm trying to keep it down to 6 names. So I have 3 priority undrafted free agents. I have 3 other undrafted free agents because I feel like it's kind of cheating to just throw 30 names out there. I'm gonna keep it to 6, and let's see. We may end up with all 6 of these. Let's see if I'm right. I have running back Ja'Cory Croskett-Merritt. If he goes undrafted, top 30 visit connection right there. I have cornerback Jalen Smith. If he goes undrafted, top 30 visit right there. And I have offensive tackle Gerard Christian Lichtenhahn. I hope that's how you pronounce that. Top 30 visit as well. Those are my priority undrafted free agents. Those are the ones that we're sprinting to, and we're trying to outbid other teams to get those guys. Then other undrafted free agents, I have his cornerback Carlin Vigors, top 30 visit. I have linebacker Jamon Dumas-Johnson from the local pro day. Plus, if we don't address linebacker at all in the draft, I wouldn't be surprised if we bring a couple in as undrafted free agents, because right now, Frankie Louvu, Bobby Wagner, Jordan McGee couldn't stay healthy last year, and outside of that, you know, what are we doing at linebacker? Probably a bigger need, you would argue, than most people think. And then lastly, safety Gabe Taylor, man. It's just destined to happen. I hope it happens. I think it would be such a great story. Sean Taylor's brother. We may not draft him, but bring him in as an undrafted free agent. He wants to come to the Commanders. If we show him any interest, he'll probably, more than likely, choose us over other teams. So go ahead and bring in Gabe Taylor. Plus, we do need safety help. Right now, Will Harris is projected to be our starting safety, and that's cool, but I would prefer a different starter. Like I said, man, I hope after the draft, in my dream case scenario mock draft, and I may even include this in my predictive mock draft, let's go sign safety Justin Simmons after the draft as a free agent. Remember, Adam Peters drafted him himself back with the Denver Broncos. I think it would come full circle for him to come around and be one of our starting safeties. Him, Quan Martin start, Will Harris a part of the rotation. That's a great safety group right there. But yeah, man, that's the end of this video. Please get in the comment section. Let me know about everything discussed in the video. Please still follow that like button, still follow the subscription button, still follow the bell next to that subscription button so you get notification each and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Let me know how you feel about my predictive mock draft. Again, this is not necessarily what I would do or what I necessarily want to do. This is me predicting this is what we're gonna do. Like Arian Smith in the 6th round, it may not even necessarily be Arian Smith specifically, but I wouldn't be surprised if we go for like a high ceiling, high flying you know, the guy that could take the lid off of the defense, wide receiver in the 6th round. You know what I'm saying? If you get what I'm saying, or a high ceiling running back in round 4, even if it's not Bayshell Tutin. In round 2, Benjamin Morrison, if he's not available, don't be surprised if they go another corner like Darian Porter, or maybe they go safety. I'm just trying to guess, kind of get in the same ballpark of this type of player, this position in these rounds. It may not exactly be those players, but we'll see. And yeah, man, I really appreciate y'all. Make sure you leave a like on the way out. Let me know how you feel about my predictive mock draft in the comment section. Let me know how you feel about the undrafted free agents. Give me your final predictive mock drafts as well in the comment section. I can't wait to see those. This is your, basically, your little, like, after the draft is done, you can say, hey, I told y'all before the draft we were going to get these guys and I was right. So let this comment section be that. I can't wait to see those. Really appreciate y'all. I'm going to catch y'all later. I'm out.